Happy Socialist Sunday, people. Here we are. Another Sunday live stream. On the on my left eye. I nearly said the bruise at 10. On my left eye. How you doing, people? Have you had a good week? Let me know in the chat. We've already got Chris, Doc and Flo waiting in the chat. Great to see you all. Here we are at the correctly advertised time of 8 PM. Sorry if there was any confusion, if any of you noticed it was originally advertised for 10. Force of habit there on my part. Because of the weekday streams. Yeah, give that thumbs up button a good old smash there, people. We'll just chill here for now. Whilst wait for a few more people to arrive, a few more comrades. A couple of minutes late coming on this evening. But we do have to haul the piano up the stairs every Sunday for the episode. For the band you can hear in the background, Herbie Ranger and the Supersonics. And then occasionally have to retune the piano. That takes quite a lot of time. Wink wink, nudge nudge. Yes, it's Herbie Ranger and the Supersonics with that one song. Take a bow. Sunday live streams resident background music band. Let's say that again, Herbie. Flo, glad you're having a decent enough week. Myself, not too bad. Political crises and impending climate breakdown notwithstanding, of course. Okay, people, what's coming up? It is, of course, a Sunday, so a trip to Keith's Fondue Lounge will be in order. And then I'm going to be sticking with Keith. A couple of stories about him and the Labour Party in general, the government's direction post local elections. Got a mix of UK and global stuff. A little bit about the ceasefire talks over Ukraine and Russia. Ukraine are asking for a 30-day ceasefire. A bunch of European leaders have gotten together. A little bit about that, but also a video has emerged. I don't know if you've seen this today, when Starmer was meeting with Macron of France and the German Chancellor around a table. And upon said table, people, there's a bit of a suspicious item, it appears, that President Macron couldn't wait to try and quickly clear off the table. And there have been a few rumours about what the possible contents of said packet, or whatever it is, could be. So we'll be taking a look at that as well. Odin and Jojo, great to see you. Hope you've had a good week. Thanks for joining us on the stream. And also, on UK-based matters, another quick look at a poll that's come out. Also the latest on Gaza, of course. There was a protest in London where there was an arrest at the demonstration, but then a tremendous display of solidarity, which I'll get onto later. Something a bit more uplifting and something else a little more encouraging as well from Ireland where boycott, divest and sanctions are concerned. A few comedy clips smattered around the place, both homegrown and from around other content providers as well. So don't worry people, it's not all doom and gloom. There's some uplifting things to come. I'm still working on the latest in the JSO, my JSO journey series as well. Don't worry, that's coming soon. It's just, I'm doing it in chronological order, you see, so I have to make sure I've got all the proper footage and whatnot. And I do, of course, want to say thank you to all of the members on the channel. Let's take care of proceedings, formalities, and as always, on all streams and content, I'd like to say thank you to all of the people who help to support the channel here on My Left Eye. I see that some of you have renewed your memberships recently. Thank you very much for that. Into the 80s now, getting towards the target of 100 members. Thank you very much everybody on the list. Thank you for sharing content recently, that's also a great way to help support the channel. Please do, if you can, share that recent content, the latest Pat McFadden experience. I'm going to see how things go with that. Yeah, so far it's not exactly been crickets, but hoping they could do better. Well, we'll see. I've still got a couple of other ideas for that. It's going to be, you know, lots of serious content, don't worry. Yeah, so please do give us a share on social media, whichever content you'd like to throw around there. And give us a follow as well, if you don't already. At the moment, we'd prefer that you follow us on Blue Sky, if you're on Blue Sky at the moment, at My Left Eye UK. Also Mastodon, but still on Twitter at the moment. Forever Twitter, never X, as we say. Mr. Pike Bishop, great to see you, sir. How you doing this fine evening? This very warm evening, I should say. Wow, yeah. It's been 26 up here in Manchester. Quite uncommon for this time of year, I'm sure that you'll agree. Okay, let's bring you good people into the proceedings as well. There's the chat, just get the little logo there. Yeah, a couple of things also. Forgot a couple of shout outs as well to No Justice and Kevin Logan for recent raids. That's helped boost the numbers on live streams as well. Picked up a few new subscribers, that's been great also. And just a reminder here on My Left Eye, you can join that list you just saw of awesome people for just 99 pence. And there's a list of perks if you want to check those out. Edward Sexby, thank you for joining us. Bit of thunder down there in Cornwall. Well, that should certainly clear the air. It's thick as soup up here in Manchester today, believe me. Not exactly perfect weather for Fondue, so I'm trying to segue in there, but let's go and gate crash Keith's party nonetheless. Take a quick look. What's going on, Keith? What's going on? So here is the big flannelly bastard himself, Keith Starmer, and the chap just to the right of him, as we look, has been in the news this week as well. Peter, you know who? I can't say it. I can't say it. You know, that guy getting all involved with the most hyperbolic non-trade deal that there ever was. Talk about something being overstated. We went through that on recent streams anyway. We all know what's happened with that. And a broken clock is even correct twice a day, and even Kemi Badenoch herself seems to have nailed it on the head in describing this as the UK getting shafted. Not that I'm one to give credit to Kemi Badenoch. Blair's there on the wall, of course, and that portrait, and there's been somewhat of a public disagreement between Keith and he recently over the net zero policy. Coming up on tonight's stream though, there have been increasing calls for Starmer to reverse recent benefit cuts, specifically PIP and the winter fuel payments, of course. They were the topics on the doorstep that cost Labour the most seats at the local election. Around 40 or so MPs have come out now and made an appeal. I'll be taking a look at that. You'd think that they would have learned the lesson from that absolute drubbing that they took, but alas not, and I'll be revealing why just very shortly. Actually, we'll be kicking off with those stories. You've been missing the fondue, Pike. Yeah, it's always good to gate crash the party. Centrists say, air quotes, centrists. I've got a very on-the-nose meme about that later on, when I'll be signing off. But I'm sure you'll all be sticking around till then because you're awesome people, of course. But to get to the end, first we must begin. And so we shall. That'll be it for the Fondue Lounge for now. We'll be catching up with Keith later on in the stream. Good night, Keith. You twat. Herbie, thank you. We've had some emails in with questions for Herbie, Ranger and the Supersonics. Just quickly to address one of them, they're asking what his actual favourite herb is, and I can reveal that it's basil. So that's just, you know, we're slowly building up all these interesting facts about the Sunday Livestream background band. These will be on the test, people. Make sure that you're noting these down. More great to see you. So I'll dive into clips, articles and whatnot. After the first comedy clip, we'll be sticking with Keith, those stories I just mentioned. After the latest in the J.D. Vance series from Ross Charles, somebody who I've started to feature on the channel. Definitely recommend you go over to his YouTube and subscribe. That's Ross Charles. That's another great one, where J.D. Vance tries to get into Canada. With hilarious consequences, of course. Okay, so this is it. Take it away, Ross.
Hello, I'm Vice President and Infected Purple Nurple. JD, what a pleasure it is to see Pat Boone live in Vanson, Missouri. Hey there, bud. It's me, conservative Canadian politician and your old pal from Yale, Jamil Giovanni. We went to Yale together. We certainly did. Okay, good. Can I come into Canada now? Oh, well, you see, JD, here's the thing. You remember how I invited you to come here to Canada as my guest? Yeah. It is why I am here in this physical location and not elsewhere in a different physical location. Well, I'm gonna have to go ahead and take back the invitation. I'm so sorry, bud. Why is this now? Well, is it because I smell like I eat hot dogs backwards? Not at all. Is it because I check everyone's pulse at a funeral so I know who the dead one is? No one in Canada likes you. Huh? Sorry to say it to you like this, bud, but given the current political climate between our two nations, we don't believe it would be constructive for you to come at this time. In fact, the whole of the country would just rather you not. Not what? All of it. All of it. Every last bit. From Vancouver to St. John's, really, every Canuck would just rather you stop. But why? Well, it's your administration. You're making all the wrong moves, bud. You mean like the pointless trade war? Hate it. Trying to make Canada the 51st state for which you have never said thank you? Literally no one wants that. Was it me calling Rush a subpar band and Celine Dion a warbling mess? Absolutely no Canadian citizen will stand for any besmirchment of either Rush or our cultural queen Celine Dion, and I do include myself in that class. But I want to eat a beaver tail and try some Alberta beef. Better be Berta beef. I also need to make my way into the northern Yukon area to make sure the equipment is working properly. What equipment? The Galthian Mining Consortium's efforts are well underway, but a number of their planetary consignment units require routine inspection from time to time. It falls to me, a fellow human man with legs, to make sure that the Fraptic Glinacular Drive Pin is working at optimum efficiency. Only then can we ensure that humanity's lobotomized obedience occurs at a global scale. Celebrate, hockey person, for the days of cold, bitter labor are soon at hand. Can I personally invade your country now? No. Yes. No. Yes. No. Yes. No. No. Yes. Wait. Okay. Oh. News update. Oh my. What? They elected a new pope. They did? And he is from Chicago. Oh no, I don't like that look in your eye. I must cancel my trip to Canada, friend. That's exactly what I've been saying this whole time. For I have a new mission. JD, whatever you're planning, please don't. Okay, good.
JD Vance, cause that's my name. It's not something else.
Ross Charles, well, he's upside down at the moment, but do go and give him a follow. Sorry I have to pause the clips towards the end there, because it potentially uses copyrighted songs, so I don't want to take the risk. It won't be the first time it's happened on streams. Unlucky JD couldn't get into Canada. Right, yes, people, back to Keith. Keith, the Keithster. Starmer. Sorry, Starmer doesn't appear to want to know what to do. Sorry, did the mic cut out for a bit there? It could keep me posted on that. Hope not. I'll just summarise though if there were any quick points. 42 is pretty significant. That's going to go up. Sticking with more of the same isn't going to help either. What was that been offered? Sorry guys. Thanks for the feedback. Right, so yeah, the so-called short-term pain for the long-term game doesn't wash. It's you know, we're never feeling the long-term gains, are we? They've been saying that since 2008, 2010, when the Tories first got in. So he's not listening. He definitely isn't listening to members of his own party. Who we warned, you know. They seem to be completely aghast at the fact that it turned into Tory Mark II. And it gets worse. Yvette Cooper, Home Secretary, has announced that care workers will no longer be recruited from overseas. This was today on Beeb. And it's again trying to double down on what did the most damage at the local elections, which is the fact that they're fighting a losing battle over the hyperbolic issue of immigration, which isn't really an issue. It's clear that anybody who's fallen for that bait would go and vote Reform anyway. And they're just completely unaware of that again. So she said it's time to end that care worker recruitment from abroad, and rules will change this year. Instead of requiring firms to hire British nationals or extend visas of overseas workers already in the country. Shocking. Up to 50,000 positioned, what it calls lower skilled, and care workers coming to the UK over the next year. Now, the care sector's already on its knees. This certainly isn't going to do it any good. This is appalling. But the BBC has certainly helped to create a panic as well. They don't distinguish between migrants, asylum seekers, refugees, illegal migrants. They want to paint them all with the same brush. But if they think numbers are bad now, just wait until we reach more tipping points in the climate crisis. We're talking hundreds of millions of people going into the billions over the next decades, people. So they, again, beating down on the most vulnerable in society. People who need care will have already taken a hit over the PIP payments, for example, in a lot of cases, and now this. It's so disgustingly miserly, isn't it, really? It's not going to help them out in the polls. Got a good example of that coming up in a moment. Terrible. Let me know what you think about that in the chat. Here's what people, the general public who've been polled, seem to think about it. Let's get the membership go back. So I've shown a few different polls from Stats for Lefties on the channel recently. I've done one or two videos about them as well. Please feel free to check those out if you've not seen them already. This latest one is a compilation of the polls. There have been some apparent outliers that predicted huge majorities for reform in some examples. Hung parliaments in others, for example. Three-way hung parliaments between Labour, the Tories and Reform. In a couple of examples as well. The polling for Scotland was more or less consistent until very recently, with the SNP looking to regain more or less all of the seats and wipe Labour out. In fact, leaving Labour with less seats than the Tories in Scotland. But recently we've seen a couple of polls that have indicated maybe a few people might be shifting over to Reform instead. So that's what we've seen so far, and this one is a compilation of all of the different polls, but it still doesn't. This is terrible. This still predicts a massive majority for Reform, who would gain 345 seats, with Labour losing 317 seats. That is disturbing. That is very disturbing. If that is what is to come in 2029, then I fear the absolute worst, people. Reform clearly taking the lead there. Lib Dem in third place, gaining another 9 seats. The SNP, as I said, mostly retaking the Scottish seats. A few Lib Dem seats in Scotland there as well. And 1 or 2 for the Tories, even though they'd drop 83. They could sink even lower, down to just 38 seats. Plaid Cymru on 6, and the Greens up just 1 on 5. I'd like to hope that the Greens and Independents could get a lot more in there. The Independents aren't mentioned on this projection, I guess you'd have to call it, which is odd. R6 at the moment. So, Plaid Cymru with 6 there. Not sure if there would have been an option for the Independents on the polls. You'd like to think that there was, though, because I think people are getting increasingly enthusiastic about that. And of course the Greens have got their leadership election coming up. It looks at the moment as though Zach Polanski could be the front runner. Carla Denya's out of the race. At the moment it looks as though it just could be a 2-horse race between himself and current co-leader Adrian Ramsey. Maybe that might change people's opinions after the change of leadership. It's been said that perhaps the Greens aren't doing enough to reach out to enough different demographics in society. I could say, while I agree with the vast majority of Green Party policies at the moment, that could actually be a factor and why they're not managing to keep up with reform as people fall out of favour with the legacy parties, the long-term established parties that I really do hope will bite the dust, but obviously not swapping what we have now for reform. How many frying pans are there before this fire? Just looking at 1 or 2 things that you're saying in the chat there about new parties and whatnot. On the left, there are, a few murmurs, a few mutterings, a few whispers in the wind about perhaps new left-wing parties coming between now and the new next general election, including perhaps Jeremy Corbyn being involved with these. We know about this apparent plan to get all the independents together. You're mentioning splitting the vote there. There are a few examples where any socialist, be they independents or from grassroots parties, have to make some sort of agreement with the Greens. Because we've seen a few examples where if maybe the Greens or whatever had dropped out of the race, that would top up the vote for the independent. Andrew Feinstein in Starmer's seat itself being a good example. He was representing the workers. Oh no, he was independent actually, sorry. Or is he Workers' Party? No, he's independent. I'm second guessing myself now. But there's a few others. There's a few other examples where perhaps, upon moving aside, saying, I'm not standing, but please support this candidate. They share my principles. Then again, you're down to tactical voting, whereas I'm a firm believer that you should stick with the party that represents your beliefs the most. But if they are that close that it doesn't matter if you switch to the other one, then I guess you still stick within that principle. But look at that, I mean, staggered. I really do hope for all our sakes that this isn't what's coming up the road in, what, 4 years or so. I was going to talk a little bit about there are still negotiations happening over this trade deal concerning digital services, but I'm going to wait and see until the dust settles there, and with that one perhaps catch up on that during the week on Brews at 10. Yeah, because I'll get over to this now. This is the clip that I mentioned of Starmer getting around the table with the French President and the German Chancellor. Now you notice something on the desk that Macron can't really wait to sort of snatch off there, and there's a very suspicious looking, what could be a line of a certain substance on the table, a thin powdery line of a certain substance, perhaps on the table. Now let's have a look. I want to know what you think about this.
It's a long walk. I'll be back in Poland.
Yes, we're all maniacs. Right, so you can. I don't know.
We came through Germany, and then we made it to France.
The item in question, you see they have these sort of light blue folders there. You can see a white object between Macron's folders and the glass there. That's his seat that he's about to sit into. The suspicious line which I mentioned is next to the German Chancellor's glass, a little bit to the right of the glass. As we look at it there, you can sort of see it's very faint. But keep your eye on this thing near Macron's glass first of all.
Through the border.
Laffy, small talk, pause for pictures. Doing their best, we're not a bunch of... Did you see that there? So they were doing their best, we're not a bunch of twats. First he swipes it off the desk and quickly pockets. There you go, quick as a flash. Just noticed that there. Oh Jesus Christ, the world press are here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, quick, and then in the pocket, in the other hand, in the pocket. Merci beaucoup. Yeah, thank you. You didn't notice that. Yeah, merci. Bonsoir. Okay. What do you make of that? Let's just take a quick look again. So it's been suggested that there could possibly be narcotics in this bag. It could be some sort of baggie. And I think you know what I'm getting at with the powdery line. Alleged powdery line on the table as well. There have been other bits of this going around, different angles, close-ups, this sort of thing. So let me know if you've seen those, if you've come across those. This is during the ongoing Ukraine ceasefire talks, of course, I should have mentioned. Just Speak Charlie takes on a whole new meaning. It certainly does, Flo. Well, we know, you know. Look at Zelensky, for example. Look at Elon Musk. We know a lot of these guys are on something, don't we? Have to be. Yes, Mobius, a very good point there. If JD Vance was there, he'd be most disgusted, wouldn't he? Keir Starmer, you've shown up here. Do you even own a suit? Do you even? How dare you? How dare you come to this table? You have not. You've been sat there for 23 seconds. You've not said thank you. You're not wearing a suit. So ignore this thing. Ignore the bag. Good point. Good point. Politics Clive, thanks for joining us. Yeah, maybe you took someone like... I brought you a gift from the United Kingdom. This is my own homemade fondue. I got here very quickly. I was just on a live stream earlier. He got over there rapid, didn't he? Just went through a couple of articles and then there he was. Probably used some sort of climate-destroying hypersonic jet of some description. Super nice to see in the chat as well. If it were at the Oval Office, it would be Musk's. Yeah. Sorry about this. Musk was just in here doing a meeting before we arrived. Didn't have time to clean up. He said that he'd hoovered up, but turns out he was talking about something else when I asked him. Rachel made the toast slices herself from the leftover bread we had for sandwiches. However, we could not release the sausages. Well, Morbius, it's from what I've seen, like I mentioned, there's been other angles and close-ups and stuff. The line is next to where the newly elected German Chancellor is sat. I don't know. I should also point out again, these are allegations that I've heard. I'm not the one who first noticed this or made these observations and allegations. Phil's holding up a sign. Oh, my solicitor's here to see me. No. That's Phil, the mute producer, who definitely exists. He's just stood next to the band there. Do share your thoughts in the chat about that, and in the comments please if you're watching back later. I know exactly what, if this gets through to the mainstream media, which probably won't, but if it does, I can sort of see the headlines now, the so-called Powdergate. They'll put gate at the end of everything. Do you remember a period where every news story had that at the end? It was during COVID, you know, you had the beer gate, the party gate, the this and that, everything that ends in any scandal ended in gate, as though the original scandal that's based around Watergate was just, it was the name of the place. It wasn't anything to do with water, it wasn't to do with hydrogen hydroxide. Gate wasn't a suffix in that case, but they've just chosen to stick it at the end of every scandal, or a lot of scandals since that happened, and that was like way back in the fucking 1970s. Powdergate, this is Beergate, Partygate. It was the fucking Gate when that politician called someone at the gate to number 10 a pleb, allegedly. Gate. Oh, we're beyond parody. It's, you know, that's so meta, isn't it? So zeitgeist. That's how it is these days. Tractorgate, Clive, another classic example. What was his name? Got caught looking at pornography on his phone in the House of Commons. It's not clear what type of pornography it was. He was caught red-handed, and then tried to say that he was trying to look up tractors for some reason. The reasoning and the so-called excuses are always so elaborate, aren't they? I'm sure you know about that series of memes taken from Little Britain where there's the statement being made outside of the family home following a scandal. Yeah, with David Williams and Matt Lucas there. And very similar. And that was one of them. I was trying to look up tractors on my mobile phone. And for some reason, you know, seen missing, that leads to looking at dirty pictures or a, you know, adult film. Tractorgate. You've brought shame on tractors, that's what you've done, sir. I really hope that tractors weren't involved in a adult film. I'm not sure what, you know, not trying to kink shame or anything, but tractors? Really? Alright, let's not get off on a tangent there. Amber warning. Okay, people, gonna move on. Gonna move on now. See what I've got queued up. Where to go to next? Let's go across to the US, just quickly. Even other billionaires are now starting to turn on Elon Musk quite openly, including Bill Gates, who seems to have started to charge head-on into philanthropy. That's what he's announced. This wouldn't be his first foray into philanthropy. He's had other projects in the past, some more successful than others. But he's taken a real dig at Elon about what he's doing with his wealth, and also what his policies whilst he was head of Doge have done to the poorest people on the planet. It's a kind of two-in-one story, this, because it also comes alongside Bill Gates, obviously former world's richest man and head of Microsoft, and the Bill Gates Foundation is going to be giving away the remainder, he says, of the foundation's money. He wants to make sure that it's all gone by the time he shuffles his mortal coil. So let's see what's happening there, people. That article comes from the FT. Oops, I just okay, I'll take you cookies, bastards. Streaming. Don't need these interruptions. Okay. Oh, I think there's a paywall here, just one sec. I'll pull up another article. Pretty sure I checked that earlier on and it was okay. That's fine. There's another one here. Just bear with me 1 second, folks. While I'm looking, actually, I'll quickly tell you the story I was going to bring up nonetheless. I mentioned some of Bill Gates's projects in the past had varied results with the Bill Gates Foundation, his philanthropy. There are quite a few examples. One that sticks out in my mind, and you have to sort of side, you have to make a mental note of the fact that this was done with the best of intentions. I've got another CNN article just loading up here. So there are obviously a lot of villages in the third world, in Africa, that suffer from malaria as a count of mosquito bites, and the Bill Gates Foundation wanted to do something about this, so they donated mosquito nets, a shitload of these mosquito nets, to these South African villages. But they, apparently, you know, they just went there and sort of dumped these nets there. These people are also suffering a huge famine at the time, it has to be said. And because they just dumped the stuff there and left the village unsupervised, what happened was the people, instead of using the nets as mosquito nets, they went down to the river and started to fish with them. Unbeknownst to them, the nets in question are coated, obviously, with a chemical repellent that deters the mosquitoes. And as they all went down at the same time and fished in the river, that got into the river and their water supply, which poisoned the villagers. So, as well as still not being protected from malaria by mosquitoes, They went and poisoned the whole river and the water supply and the fish that they caught there. So eating those fish poisoned them and killed many. That's one example of it was the best intentions, but again, it's how you do it and the communication, and if it's supervised. All right, just onto the article now. So there he is, of course, former world's richest man. Has called out Moscow over cuts made to US government spending under his watch through Doge, and says it would lead to millions of deaths around the world. The warning comes after the Trump administration took steps to dismantle US aid and halt its foreign assistance mission, with Musk bragging about feeding the agency to the wood chipper. In the weeks since, many non-profit organisations have grappled with cancelled contracts or sporadic payments, although some have since been restored, amid warnings from aid organisations about the potentially deadly consequences of cutting the funding. He also said, while Elon went into government, if his thing really was about efficiency or using artificial intelligence, of course, we need to make the government more efficient. If that's what it had been, then it's a praiseworthy thing to put his time and expertise into, Gates said in an interview with Fareed Zakaria from CNN on Friday. The fact that it turned into slashing these people, I didn't expect that, and some of that should be put back into place, Gates also said. He also added that the world is in a global health emergency because of spending cuts to health programmes by the United States and European governments. Microsoft co-founder's comments come after he announced on Thursday plans to give away $200 billion, that's virtually all of his personal wealth, through the Gates Foundation over the next 20 years before closing the organisation, an acceleration of his previous spending plans. The decision was motivated in part, he said, by concerns that progress on improving global health is stagnating or even reversing. You've got to agree with him there. Is this, the sort of modern day Carnegie, who famously gave away all of his wealth before he died? His philosophy there, his worldview, was that he got his education from free libraries, so he owed it to free libraries, and he opened some 300 of them prior to his demise. Obviously, historically one of the richest men in American history. Builder of Carnegie Hall as well, of course, the famous Carnegie Hall. Are we seeing echoes of that? We don't hear a lot about Elon Musk in terms of philanthropy, though, do we? There's a lot of grandstanding. It's all about him. He makes false claims to be one of the greatest online gamers in the world and such. Morbius, thanks for renewing your membership there. Solidarity, and a gifted membership as well. Awesome. Thank you very much for that, optimistic nihilist. Hope you do enjoy your benefits. I'll duly update the members goal. 82. Props to you there, Morbius. Big up, big up. Well, I hope he's for real, and hope the Gates Foundation have sorted their act out and won't see any shocking repeats of, like the example I gave. It spent more than $100 billion since it was founded 25 years ago, partnering with government agencies and other non-profits globally to tackle major health challenges. The organisation's work has included developing new vaccines, diagnostic tools, and treatment delivery mechanisms to fight disease around the world. This is just as well a classic example of how, if properly taxed, we could resolve immediately the problems that we have in the world, but it takes billionaires having a rare crisis of conscience for it to happen. Another statistic as well that adds weight to that is the fact that the backlash against Musk and the dip in Tesla stock values that we've seen alongside it, as well as still left Elon Musk the richest man in the world, and in fact he's lost as much value as several nations' economies, their entire economies, and still remained the richest man in the world. Shows what would happen if you tax the rich. A representative for Musk hasn't immediately responded to a request for a comment, but it's not the first time Musk and Gates have feuded over philanthropy. A few years ago, Gates visited Musk in an effort to convince the Tesla CEO to increase his giving, but the meeting went sideways after Musk called Gates an arsehole, according to the Musk biography by Walter Isaacson, for which he spoke to both billionaires. The expected, very mature response coming from Elon Musk, as always, there. Gates also raised concerns about other White House actions, including Donald Trump's tariff policies. The widespread tariffs threaten to raise costs for US consumers and upend operations for American businesses, just as artificial intelligence is already expected to shape up the job market and the economy. He says if you're just going to build a new factory, you need to understand the policies for the next 20 years, not just the next 2 days or even 4 years. I guess he's right. You know, obviously we're very critical of billionaires and those who hoard wealth. You know, profit is wage theft when we're talking about these levels of wealth. But it seems that he doesn't want that on his conscience. And this is going to be over the next 20 years. He's in his 60s at the moment, Bill Gates, so he'd be looking to spend virtually all of his wealth by the time he's in his 80s. But again, just finally, we can't rely on this. This has got. We have to force the wealth away from those who would otherwise retain it. What the Gates Foundation are going to do will help, but long term, these people have to be taxed properly. We've got to tear this system down, people, and replace it with something a lot fairer. A truly fair day's pay for a fair day's work would be a start. A reduction in working hours, more workers' rights, and so on. Let me know what you think about that, people. Going to move on to matters in the Middle East in just a moment. Just bear with me, people. I've just got to top up my beverage. If you'll excuse me for a couple of moments. Thanks for your patience, people. Alright, a few comments there in the chat. I'll just address one or two of those. I did hear a little bit about that Morbius Melinda Gates dumping Bill after details of his relationship with the late Jeffrey Epstein came out, apparently, allegedly. That's a whole kettle of fish, though. It's obviously been alleged that he's one of the wealthy people who made frequent visits to Epstein's island, this notorious island there. We did mention, of course, recently on the stream, is it Jouffre? Elaine, is it Jouffre? Who died recently. She was one of the main witnesses in his conviction, in Epstein's conviction, and Ghislaine Maxwell also. Yeah, that's another kettle of fish, though. Odin, well, in terms of the wealth gap, that's of course completely illogical overall, but the fact that Elon Musk specifically has gotten to become the richest man in the world, it kind of makes sense when you look at two things mostly. First of all is the government subsidies. Once a corporation can get access to those, it's some real next level shit in terms of finance. Obviously, usually a company's value comes from its profits, which comes from the amount of customers that it is reaching out to, or the profit margins that they have over the product. But in this case, when things aren't exactly going particularly well, he can turn around to the government and essentially con them into giving him subsidies, the same way that he's conned his stock investors, the same way that he's conned a lot of his customers as well. Let's remind ourselves that there are still several models of Tesla that were promised many, many years ago that still haven't started to come out of the production line. The ones that have, for example, the often mentioned Cybertruck, has turned out to be a complete disaster. But yet he does remain the richest man in the world, and that brings the other factor that I want to mention, and that's the fact that, as opposed to the profits coming directly from the commodity, in this case the electric vehicles, it comes from hype. That's how he gets his government money. He whispers in the government's ear, you know, I'm going to bring you the future, I'm going to develop these, and he makes up all sorts of bullshit about when they're going to come out, what sort of features that they're going to have. He sells them a future that isn't real. That's how he gets the subsidies, that's how he gets people to invest in the company. He's selling hype, and it's happened before. What was her name? She got found out eventually for selling this supposed cancer treatment. Turned out that she falsified all of the research results, for example. Sam Friedman, another example of a hype merchant. In fact, Bitcoin itself is entirely all based around hype. It's not backed up by any physical commodity. It turns the value of something into how much something is, somebody is willing to pay for it, essentially. That's how he's done it. That's how Elon Musk has gotten away with it. He's beaten the likes of Jeff Bezos, who obviously Amazon has a massive amount of wealth. It's a huge global company. Also an amoral company in terms of how it treats its workers, just for one example. But he's even outstretched the likes of Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates, although Bill Gates has given a lot of his fortune away. At one point, Steve Jobs was the richest man in the world, wasn't he? Briefly. He died without giving a penny to charity. I think he was worth 90 billion. when he died. And now you look at Musk, whose wealth is in the hundreds of billions. On paper, of course. So that's how they do it. No one should be rich enough to build dick-shaped rockets. Yeah. Quite agree there, Andy. Welcome to the chat as well. Nice to see you. Great way of announcing yourself. Yeah, 100%. I'm not sure exactly how many people put down deposits of up to $250,000 on one of the Tesla sports car models that he's been promising people for a very long time. I think about 8 years now, at least. I remember Hyperloop as well. Oh, and the taxi franchise that he was going to start. Do you know about that one? Brings up the self-driving cars, which is another bullshit future that he's tried to sell people. Nowhere near the technology that he says he has. But he was saying that he was going to get these fleets of self-driving taxis, and all you have to do is invest in one and it'll pay for itself, and it'll drive around all day, driving customers around by itself, and you'll just be able to use that as passive income. And how glorious that would be, without paying any attention to the fact that, first of all, the tech doesn't exist. He's talking about Johnny Cab from the film, that old film with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Total Recall. But yeah, you'd have those, and certainly nobody would vandalise it or try and get away without paying the fare. I don't know how the payment system would work. Late at night, at weekends, no one's going to leave half a spilled kebab in it or throw up in it. You're not going to see people fornicating in the back of these vehicles for kicks. No, definitely not. It's just completely ridiculous as a concept. But it does strike me. I think the thing overall that strikes me the most is how people kind of fall for it. Because I remember when people started to mention Elon Musk about being this great innovative inventor, this engineer. But then the more I looked into him as a person, the more I looked into his past in businesses, with PayPal, all the way through to Tesla and now these other projects, SpaceX and whatnot. And his family's history, the more I found out the truth, which is pretty dark and disturbing. Elizabeth Holmes and Theranos, thank you, my pal Footfoot. That was the bogus cancer treatment. She was worth a few billion at the time when she got found out. Oh, Clive, yeah, that'd be awful if he... all the drivers would have Elon Musk's face as the chauffeur, as the driver. And there's a big screen in the back, and he forces you to watch him gaming, like that's all that will be on, just a big screen. And then just, yeah, plastered Tesla and SpaceX adverts everywhere. In the back of the cab. Well, you almost beat me to it there, Mobius. I was just going to bring up Thunderfoot. Definitely recommend him if you want to know what Musk is really about. Thunderfoot's a great engineer himself, and he really does call out Musk on a granular level about why his tech is basically a big old pile of crap. Don't get me started on the Mars thing. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's a ridiculous idea in the first place. You don't want to go there. You do not want to go there. Let's sort out things here. Let's protect this planet. This unique planet in the solar system. Although, here's an idea, people. I'm just jamming here, you know, just spitballing. Let me know what you think about this one. Alright. This is how it'll have to go down. Get your pencils and paper ready, people. Make notes. Burn after writing. We have to be patient with this one. It's obviously going to start with the richest people in society maybe going to these small colonies on Mars. It's not going to happen. They're going to fuck it up anyway, but just, you know, imagine that it does happen. So they get up there, like, you know, Katy Perry gets off down the ramp, whatnot, until the very, very richest space tourists on Earth are all there together. And it's at that moment, people, that we seize the means of production, we start the revolution. And then we don't let them back in. We don't let them back down. We say, oh, sorry, lost communication, you're going to have to stay up there on Mars. Sorry about that. We'll take care of everything down here, don't worry, we'll evenly distribute the profits from your respective businesses. Enjoy Mars that you couldn't wait to get to. We'll be fine, we'll be fine. We'll just be, you know, solving world hunger, housing everybody, giving universal healthcare to the world, stopping all wars. We'll just crack on with that while they're gone. Sound good? If only, if only. Quite correct there, Andy. I really hope that Musk will demonstrate in his plans if he gets on the thing first. Have you seen the ending? Well, not just the ending. Do you remember Don't Look Up? The ending to that one. Could be similar to that. He was a great character though, as well. Sorry, I've forgotten the character and the actor's name, but he was said to be influenced by Musk directly in how he was playing the character. I think Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, he was trying to play a combination of those two, with obviously a bit of his own stuff in there as well, but it was really great. And it's pissing me off that it's not coming to me. I'll probably shout it out in about 5 minutes anyway, or one of you might help me out in the chat. Let's build something. I'm getting distracted. But of course, Adam McKay directed that film, great director. Did The Big Short as well. Do check out his stuff. He was also a supporter of JSO actually for a while. Had the privilege of being on a Zoom call with him actually. No, it was great. Listening to him speak, he's a top guy, top director. Check out Don't Look Up, as well as The Big Short and his other stuff as well. Excuse me. Right, I will move on instead of torturing myself as through that actor is, whose name I can't remember. He was in Dunkirk as well. It will still bug me for a while. Do have to move on though. Yeah, Middle East affairs next. Got a couple of more uplifting things to do with that. Well, one of them has elements of concern in it. I'm going to start with that one actually. Around the policing where it comes to demonstrations for Gaza and stuff. So there was a demonstration this weekend in London, and a fellow called Mick Napier was arrested on Buchanan Street. I wasn't there myself, I should point out, but there's been footage of that coming in. I got this from somebody called Jade on Twitter, so shout out there, credit where it's due. Now Mick was arrested. The police said that it was because he was breaching his bail conditions by being there, but he wasn't. And there was a huge show of solidarity. Hundreds of people actually got around the police van as they noticed people were being sort of singled out for arrest. Mick was one of them. And they surrounded the police, continued to call for his release, and then he was eventually de-arrested. So talk about people, power people. There it is. Let's see what's happening. So it's a bit loud with those horns and things there, people. Thanks a lot for throwing up the watermelons and Palestine flags. Solidarity with Palestine as always here on my left eye. Yeah, well done there, Mick. That's a great show of resistance, of defiance from the public as well. I mean, I've been detained under suspicion of breaking my bail conditions at protests before, and been through similar things as well. But like I said, also concerning that this is happening to peaceful protesters yet again. Seen more and more examples of this. I saw another shocking example over in Europe. It was the German police. Oh, was it the Dutch police? It was either the German or the Dutch police. at a similar protest, and they arrested a young lady in her early 20s. As she was being led away, she was still shouting out, you know, "Free Palestine" and other slogans. And as they were marching her up the street, they forced their hands over her mouth so that people couldn't hear her shouting, deliberately silencing her. Now, when you're arrested, you do have the right to remain silent, but I believe it's not mandatory either. So that's another shocking display. We don't want to see similar prejudice against protesters here in the UK. There's got to be a stop to this. That's well done, Mick. Thanks again to Jade on Twitter for sharing that content. Well done, everybody who was there. Let me know if you go to the London protests. I do have to get down there myself at some point. I'd love to bring you some content. They do happen regularly here in Manchester as well. Something else I'd like to see as well is what Ireland have done recently. A great example in show of solidarity with Palestine. They have closed their embassy in Dublin, the Israeli embassy in Dublin, so it's a very quick look at that. Look at the amount of support that they get from the Irish there. Well done. Brilliant. Brilliant stuff. Well done. Well done, the Irish there. Now, how about the one in London? Let's follow suit. Their ambassadors are all lunatic Zionists, of course. Thanks again for the flags and watermelons. Oh, we do have Irish viewers on streams and videos as well. Shout out to the Irish. If you're watching, I've not been over there myself for a while now, but I should certainly put that on my plans for the not too distant future. Oh yes, whilst we're on the topic, of course, I've not got an article to go through, just a quick mention. We said we're waiting to hear about what the new Pope was going to be like. Obviously he has a massive amount of influence over Catholics across the world in countries such as Spain, Brazil, Italy, it goes without saying, with proportionately large Catholic populations. He has come out already and spoken out in support of Gazans and called for an end to the starvation, the humanitarian crisis, which has been good to see. Some said he was more like his predecessor. So certainly, on that issue, it looks to be the case. Something a little more positive. Even the Pope saying this, you know what you're gonna say, you know better than the Pope? Yeah, just quickly wanted to mention that. Free Palestine. Okay, what should we go to next? Yeah, okay then, right. Tomorrow we'll see the release of the latest edition of the Bruise at 10, the album. That will debut tomorrow on Monday's Bruise at 10. I'd hope that you can join me for that, but this will be the final play of Volume 5 here on the channel. Just a quick reminder that you can still get your contributions in for future episodes. Volumes.
Do you like a hot tasty beverage with your music? Then my left eye has got a treat for your ears. The Bruise at 10, the album, all your favourite beverage-based hits from the 1960s to now, all in one place.
Volume 5 is now available, featuring Brew Much, Brew Young, The Specials, No Woman, No Chai, Bob Marley, Papa's Got a Brand New Teabag, James Brown, Teenage Kicks, The Undertones, She Loves Brews, The Beatles, plus many more. Order now.
Bruise at 10, the album. Episode 6 coming out tomorrow. Make sure that you're there for the first look, first viewing of that one. Yeah, keep your contributions coming in for future volumes. Well, Andy, we've only done 6. We're not quite there with the Now That's What I Call Music ones, the old compilation albums. I've no idea what they sort of went up to. You know, you can maybe dust off your dad or your granddad's collection and see what they've got. I don't really keep up with that sort of, you know, the compilation album. Okay, got a bit more comedy here for you now. Someone I've featured a few times before on the channel. Definitely go and give him a follow. Highly recommended content here from Rathbone.
Let us build military bases on your land. Is there another option? We can surround you with them. Is there a third option? No, but we'll also sanction your economy. Okay, I guess you can house your military on our soil. Great, we actually already started on it anyway. You see, countries partner with us of their own free will. America is the great moral defender of freedom and democracy. Let us build army bases in your country. Fuck no. Cool, we'll just set up shop across the border and constantly provoke and gaslight you. I wanna know what love is. Fuck you. Boo, these are terrorists. They don't love our freedom. They hate democracy and all we stand for. We're gonna fuck these people up. They deserve it. Look, America, we've had a good run, but it's time we part ways. We just elected a new leader. We want to use our land and our resources a little differently, so we're sorry, but no more. Cheryl, hold my calls. Get me Frank Wisner on the line. Hey, let's get him, boys.
Rathbone, give him a follow. That's from Insta, but he's also on YouTube, Twitter, Blue Sky as well. Give him a follow. Great content, people. Herbie. The American Empire, people. The fucking American Empire. Okay, how's Keith doing? Let's another dive back into the lounge. Well, we'll see what antics from Keith and Co will follow next week. Do join me on the Bruise at 10 live streams. Another shout out to all the members on the channel coming up as well. Yeah, stick around on the stream though. There's quite a few other streamers who could potentially be raiding into. Just having a quick scan now. Oh well, speaking of Rathbone, it does have a stream upcoming, but do have another selection of live streams. That'll be a brief visit to Keith's Fondue Lounge just on the way out. See you next week, Keith. Hey ho, hey hey, how many kids did you kill today? Thank you, Andy. Another gifted membership brings us up to 83. Cheers for that. Thank you for joining me on this Socialist Sunday live stream. A special thanks. Brief microphone issue there, people. Apologies. Wanted to say thanks to Andy Carter for another gifted membership. Also, stick around. We've got a choice actually of raiding into either No Justice or Kevin Logan. I think we've raided into Kevin last, but let me know if you have any particular choice or preference. I'll get that members list updated before tomorrow's stream. Thanks again to everybody who's gifted tonight. And Holland Cube. Not sure if Holland Cube has been a member before, but please do enjoy your membership perks. Oh, of course, Andy, you're a mod on Helena's No Justice. We'll raid over there. Let's all go over. that's locked in. Make sure you hit the thumbs up when we join Helena at No Justice as well. I'll be there for a little while myself, but if you're watching this back on a replay or whatever, take care everybody. Thanks for joining me here on this Socialist Sunday live stream on My Left Eye. I've been your host Lefty. You've all been wonderful. Take very good care of yourselves, and My Left Eye will be seeing you soon.